Hey guys, this is Mike Chalice for GamingLagg.com. Do you like our content? I would imagine that's a yes since you're hearing me right now. Well, consider becoming a patron. Throw us $1 a month on our Patreon. It doesn't seem like much, but if we hit our goal of 1,000 $1 patrons, we will be able to do so much more. Thank you always for your continued support. Hello everybody and welcome to the Laggspike Podcast. I am your host, Mike Chalice, and I have with me the man with the beard. You can say hi.
How's it going?
How's it going?
You usually say my name. I was waiting for it.
Matt Burt. Everybody knows your name. You're famous now. All over Twitter. The hundreds and fifties of followers. Craziness.
It's over 1,000, but yes.
As far as the regular cast, though, that's it.
Yeah.
We have one of our personal friends, though, Mr. Ryan Brewer.
How's it going?
Who's decided to join us to make sure it is not a half-empty table, basically. And he games with us all the time, so he's got some valuable information. And if it's not, too bad. That's what you're going to hear. Fair enough?
Fair enough.
We got a good show planned for you today. We're going to go over some interesting topics, of course. We had an idea given to us by GameSpot for a good topic of discussion. We're going to talk a little bit about Kojima, again, being removed. We mentioned it last week from the Metal Gear Solid 5 box and why that seems like Konami is an angry ex-girlfriend / boyfriend. And yeah, but before we get into that, we're going to talk a little bit about Gamer Support Gamers, which is a page on our website that is dedicated to people just like us trying to create gaming-related content, such as YouTube channels, Twitch streams, websites, or podcasts. Anything along those lines. Creating your own content is a very saturated market, but some people are making great content and not being noticed, and that's what we are trying to help with. Hopefully that page allows us to help other people, and as we grow, they grow at the same time. Simple as that. More importantly, we have Fredericton Gaming Expo coming up. We're a little under a month away now. Very excited for that. We are going to be there raffling off a gaming basket. Not all gaming-related stuff. We got some food in there, some shirts, some different things from donors, and we're going to try and make a little bit of money for Extra Life. And why is Extra Life so important, Matt? Why? Why? Tell me. I need to know.
So, Extra Life is a fundraising campaign put on by video gamers to help Children's Miracle Network hospitals. Most of these hospitals get all their funding through fundraising. God, that sentence is hard to say week after week.
Yeah.
As a collective group, if we raise $2,500, the man with the beard will be the man without the beard. We will be shaving my beard on live stream November 7th and 8th.
November 7th and 8th, we're going to be doing a stream for 24 hours, and if we hit our goal of $2,500, as Matt said, we will be shaving his beard off during the live stream. That live stream is going to be a lot of fun, though. We're going to have lots of different people. I don't think we're just going to stream video games. I think our goal is going to be to try and stream the room, so you can see all sorts of activities, whether that be somebody sleeping upside down on a chair somewhere because they're getting too tired and things of that nature.
Duct tape to a chair.
Duct tape to the roof, whatever, anything like that. But
Sam.
Yeah, exactly.
Sam.
But in all honesty, Extra Life is an amazing campaign. It supports positivity and what gamers can actually do, because there's way too much negativity in our world. It is, as Matt said, for Children's Miracle Network hospitals, and it is the only way they get funded pretty much predominantly. And we're going to do our best. The best thing about Extra Life is that you can join our team, and if you don't, and we don't actually have to give you permission, you just go and find our page, join our team, and if you don't want to do that, you can also just donate towards us.
Yeah.
Simple as that, right?
Yeah.
Simple as that. What have we been playing this week?
Let's start with the new guy.
Let's start with the new guy. What have you played this week, Ryan?
A ton of Destiny.
Yeah?
But
That seems to be a going trend for you guys.
Yeah.
I've mentioned it a million times, but I can't get too much into Destiny just because I'm a little discouraged of my wedding date / release date of the Taken King are really close.
I just wanted to get everything taken care of so that I could become legend.
Become legend.
Rocket League.
Oh, such a good
free
game.
Yeah, really
so
fun game.
Good.
If you want to actually get away from the stresses of some of these other games, play with some friends.
I don't know. I get pretty damn stressed out during that game.
But,
Oh, yeah. Anything else?
Elder Scrolls Online. I know out of our group that
You're like the only one playing it,
Yeah.
but it doesn't matter. It's gotten really good reviews. Apparently, they did a very good job porting it to console. So, I mean, I mean, hats off to people who are playing it. It seems like a very, very good game. The reason I didn't get it, because it is up my alley, is because I don't know if I can sink the time into something like that again with all the other games I'm playing. But you're liking it so far?
I love it. It's the biggest issue I had. I picked it up launch day, obviously, as you're aware. I was telling you.
Yep.
Server issues, big problem. And then they started releasing some patches, ironing out some of their bugs.
Common theme with MMO-style games. So the only one that's actually had a smooth release has been Destiny, the initial release.
Yeah.
Because they've had issues after that.
Yeah.
But
But
you're still loving it?
Oh, yeah.
There's a bunch of people on my friends list that are playing it, so obviously it's got some appeal. I do like the fact that it's not a traditional MMO like World of Warcraft, where it's like click on the target and hit one button and you just sort of stand there and cast spells. It is more jump around, and you can... And
you have, like, I mean, there's some different things that they've done where after you hit level 15, you can switch it over so that you actually have a backup weapon you can use. You know, if you're a sword weapon person or dual wield person, once you hit level 15...
Well, very
you
similar.
want something ranged, you can switch over to an archer or whatever.
Very similar to most Elder Scrolls game where the actual weapon progression seems to be really good. Like Skyrim was really awesome when you could start using better weapons and things like that, and you could swap them out.
That's pretty much it for me that I've played.
No, that's good, man. Trust me, Josh normally sits in your chair and says, "I played Destiny and The Witcher." That's about all he's got.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, nothing wrong with that at all. Absolutely. Matt, what have you been playing? You've been playing something weird, I heard, or that you think is weird.
It's, well, as the name states, Life is Strange. It is a very strange game.
Yep.
An episodic game, which I do really like. You've been playing episodic games too, and I know that you've been saying that you hate the slow walking. You can actually run in this one.
Oh, good. Thank God.
And you don't actually have to do the side quests of the walking. Sure. You can just progress the story.
Okay.
I have been doing them because they're all trophy related. And I can't say too much. I mean, it has been out for a while. I just decided to finally pick it up. But it doesn't really make a lot of sense. I mean, I'm only done episode 1 so far.
From everything I read, it says that at the very end,
it'll make sense.
Everything ties together, kind of like a Sherlock Holmes thing, where he's just like, and this had a primer around the outside of it, and that's why it caught on fire. And you're like, what? Oh, okay, that makes more sense. Yeah.
But yeah, no, the ability that you do have makes the game so that if you do something wrong, you can correct it.
Okay. So do something you don't like.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then I played some Destiny and played a little bit of Rocket League, not as much as you guys, but a little bit.
Okay. Cool.
So, and I'll save the Destiny chatter for the last word, which might be the longer of the 2 podcasts this week.
Might be. We have some interesting stuff to go on, so tune in on that every Tuesday, either the website and or iTunes. Or tune in. Yes, absolutely. I keep forgetting to mention that to people because I have so many people asking us about, well, I don't have iTunes or something like that, and I'm like, that's yes, Android, but I have tune in, and I know, but a lot of people I think don't understand how those podcast apps work, and that they don't understand that all you have to do is type it, like it knows every iTunes podcast out there. You just type it in.
I switched over and it was literally just bang, bang, bang.
Yep.
You know, I put in my Apple info and
it was there.
I had it right back. Yeah.
Yep. All right. So I've been playing a whole bunch of different games. First game I want to talk about a little bit is The Vanishing of Ethan Carter. Finally got a chance to play it. It was PC only before it came to PlayStation 4 this past Tuesday, and loved it. It was such a cool game. I'm starting to really fall in love with these first-person experience games where you don't really have combat. It's just explore this world, solve these puzzles, and then at the end you get sort of a reward. This was a very cool ending to a game. Matt's going to be playing it at some point, and then maybe we can get into it when it's not so new, because revealing the end and talking about the end is massive spoilers for what's actually happening in the game. So we're not going to do that, obviously. Finally got a chance to sit down and play The Walking Dead Season 1 by Telltale, and really enjoyed that. I also only have episode 5 left of Season 2. So I'm going through both of those. One thing I wanted to touch on those, and Matt sort of hinted at it, is the fact that I really don't like the walking around parts. I feel like they're almost forced in there to make it last a little bit longer. The story is incredible. It's well written, just like everybody had said. I thought I was going to be disappointed by it, but I was not even a little bit. All I can say is that the walk around and go and grab this item and do this, and until you do that, it doesn't progress. I feel like it's forced because it's not hard, but you're walking at such a slow pace that it just feels forced. Anyway, that's my own personal opinion. Yell at me if you want. I also went back after playing Ethan Carter and finished Ether 1, which was a free PlayStation Plus game, I believe, last month or the month before. I think it was last month, though. Really, really cool experience as well. That one also had sort of a pacing problem where you could sort of run, but it was still really slow and it took a long time to explore everything. But very interesting methods of doing that. You can progress the story very easily by finding these red ribbons, and then it progresses the story. But there are incredibly challenging puzzles to make it very hard. I only did a few of those because I didn't want to spend as much time with the game. Then I played a very minuscule amount of Destiny and a whole metric ton of Imperial shit ton of Rocket League, because I'm really in love with that game. That game is just filled with crazy moments. Like when you just barely get to a ball in time after somebody takes a shot and you make a save, and just that big epic save with 60 points comes up on your screen, and then the other team like literally just spams what a save down the side of your screen to say like fuck you for stopping that. It's the best. I love that game. It's so awesome. I really think that you could actually make an argument, if their servers were more reliable, that it could be like game of the year for sheer gameplay and entertainment. People are going to be playing that game for a long time, I think.
Yeah.
Because it's just, and the fact that it was free. It launches on PS4 and it's free for the first month. They had 180,000 people on yesterday concurrently. Like, that's so many people playing that game.
And if they'd fix the 4-on-4, that seems to be the biggest
it
issue
is.
we've had.
Yes. And if you play 3-on-3, it's fine. Yes. 2v2 is fine. Any rated games are fine. But yeah, the 4v4 seems to have so many lag issues, and 4v4 is just really fun to do with your friends if you have a little bit larger group.
Yeah, for sure.
One thing I'm finding very frustrating with Rocket League is the 3v3 rated, which you can only queue up by yourself. Very frustrating because it pairs you up with people, and yes, sometimes it's my fault, but a lot of times you're paired up with people who just constantly make mistakes and don't really understand. I'm pretty competitive when it comes to video games, so I get frustrated when I lose for the fact that I'm not playing defense and somebody else decided not to play defense, and then I decide to play defense, and then there's another person playing defense, and I'm just like, this is ridiculous. Anyway, pairs you up with random people, so I didn't really enjoy that part, but still loving the game. I've been playing it. I almost have my 4th platinum from that game. I just need to unlock one more thing and drive 500 miles. And I'm sure I'm about halfway there, at least.
Wow.
I got to be close. So let's get into some news really quickly. We're going to do sort of a format that we're going to try and keep consistent. We're going to do some smaller base news, kind of rapid fire succession, and then we're going to do any emails that we get, and then we're going to do some roundtable discussion to sort of finish off the podcast. Depending on how much news we have will depend on how many topics we have each week, and that is to celebrate our new background. Yay!
Still a work in progress.
Still a work in progress, of course, but we worked today to get the framing done and the backdrop and the shelves. Yeah.
That was a weird noise.
I know. It happens all the time.
I know.
Yeah, but we're very excited about it. A lot better than the green screen, of course, because when you edit with a green screen, it's unless you have perfect lighting, and unfortunately, we're not in those ideal circumstances.
And I can wear green again.
Yay! You can wear your sweater that you haven't been able to wear since you bought it. All right, let's get into it. Shenmue. It's a little game they announced at the PlayStation press conference at E3.
Just a little one.
Little teeny bitty game. It was weird because they announced a Kickstarter starting, and they wanted to get $2 million. Obviously, you sort of knew on the back end Sony was going to fund it because it's going to be more than $2 million to make. But they wanted basically, you want it, you better prove to us you want it. They sort of did.
Sort of.
So they ended at $6.3 million after asking for $2 million, which is the most ever for a video game on Kickstarter.
Yep.
Any thoughts on that? Do either of you care about this game? I've never played a Shenmue.
Never played a Shenmue.
It's weird because it's this weird cult of people that are just like, I want Shenmue 3. And every time somebody explains it to me, it's like, guys, I drove a forklift and I picked up some boxes and yeah, I just went to work and then I went home. Yeah. And I'm like, that sounds not fun even a little bit. Obviously, with all the hype it's gotten, I'm going to have to try it.
I think this news would have been bigger if Josh was here because Josh has played them and does enjoy it. So
maybe we'll get some more reactions as we get further along in the development process for that. Not to be confused, I know everybody. I was actually asked quite a few times, like, how is it the most on Kickstarter? Star Citizen has 100 million. Matt even asked me that. they didn't make $6.3 million on Kickstarter. They made a whole bunch of money. Then they moved to their own website, and there's actually been some controversy about that, to be honest. But yeah, moving on. EA and NCAA have come to terms on a $60 million settlement. Chump change, no big deal.
Yeah.
What was that about, Matt? You were explaining it to me.
Some previous NCAA athletes and current ones had their likenesses used without their permission, so there was a court case. They all got bundled together, and a judge finally said that the $60 million was enough.
Okay.
That's basically the gist of it. It was pretty big news with EA.
Can you just imagine? Just some athlete that was supposed to go to the NFL that like blew out his knee, just gets a check for $2.3 million as part of the settlement.
Yeah. It's hundreds of players, so they're probably not going to be that much, but the top names that were in the thing will probably be larger amounts.
I would imagine.
I'd bet money on that.
I'm sure the courts have some weird thing to,
The $60 million with the way their stock's going is chump change, though.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, EA and Activision both are seeing record high stocks. EA literally is because they have the rights to do Star Wars games.
Yeah.
They have an Uncharted like Star Wars games in development now with the lead creator of Assassin's Creed and Amy Hennig, I think, is that her name?
Yeah.
From Uncharted.
Yeah.
Yes, please. Give me Nathan Drake, only it's Han Solo doing stuff. I'm in. F yes. Really boring rebranding here. Origins accounts are being renamed to EA accounts to promote the EA brand. Something you don't really want associated to your name. That being said, I do understand it because a lot of people, when you talk about Origins, still don't realize that that's from EA. Pick something cooler than that, though.
Yeah.
EA accounts. I'm going to create Mike Book. It's so stupid. All Xbox One users will be available to stream their games, or GAMs, as Matt typed in, to Windows 10 devices at launch.
Listen, from now on, you guys do the news. I'm done with it.
I'm just giving you a hard time. You'll be able to stream to your Windows 10 devices at launch, which I think is cool. They've already talked about it, though, so it's not all that crazy. This was interesting. The Flock is an indie game being developed, and it was first shown in 2013 or something. We just watched a video on GameSpot, I think.
Yeah,
I think that's what it was. And anyway, they were going over it, but it's going to have a shelf life. Explain that a little bit, Matt.
So when reading the article, found it kind of interesting. There's going to be a in-game life counter. As people die, that number will drop, and you won't be able to buy it once it hits 0, and it sounds like you won't be able to play it at all once it hits 0. So it's hard to say. They don't have what that number is going to be or the price of the game.
My guess is you'll be able to play it, but if it would be interesting if they stuck to their guns and let's say, once it gets to 0, you're not allowed to buy it. But what if they come out and they say that the death toll is 5 billion?
That's going to be
ridiculous. Obviously, it's going to be... you can buy it, but there's a shelf life of 5 years. Well, after 5 years, I don't care about it. Nobody's going to buy it anyway. It's going to be in a Steam sale for $1.99. That's all they're preventing. But if they come out and there's, let's say, the death counter's at 1 million, that's not very long. If you have like 100,000...
That's going to be less than a year.
Yeah, exactly.
It depends on how many users they get.
Yeah, of course.
It really does, yeah.
Yeah, but it's a horror game, multiplayer only. It has some interesting mechanics. Didn't quite understand. You have a flashlight. You got to keep running, so it's powered by your sweat, apparently.
Light artifact.
Light artifact. It's a flashlight.
It's a light artifact.
It's a flashlight that's powered by your sweat or heart rate. I haven't figured that out yet.
Movement.
Basically, you got to move. Yeah.
Sweat or heart rate sounds better.
Okay.
In Australia, Mad Max Post-Apocalyptic Edition will include the Blu-ray for Fury Road. I think that's freaking cool from somebody who collects Blu-rays.
It is.
I think it's awesome.
It's actually a better collector's edition than some.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, the price tag down there is a little bit steep for it, but...
Is there like an import tax or something? Is that why?
I'm assuming, but you can buy both pieces individually. There is a couple other pieces.
Let me just explain that you're not going to be able to do this because Australia is then going to ban the game, and then you're never going to be able to buy it anyway because that's what Australia does. What? There's violence? No, not allowed. Final Fantasy 15 will be at Gamescom. Woo! Me and Ryan are very excited for this game. I don't even know what English is anymore.
No, you forgot.
I'm so anticipating this game. It's crazy. I was really disappointed we didn't see anything at E3. I thought for sure they'd be out on Sony's stage talking about it, bragging about some exclusive hat that looks like a mogul and has a little floppy red, clown nose thing.
Debatably, they brought on something that's potentially bigger. Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, remake, I guess.
I mean, that
it's just Final Fantasy 15 is almost done. Final Fantasy 7. We had this discussion last week. Obviously, you weren't on the show, but we were talking about how after we've had a month to digest all this information, I think Microsoft won E3 if you want to talk about who's got the best lineups and stuff, because Microsoft's half of their games are coming out this year, half of them are coming out next year. Final Fantasy 7 remake is like 2018 minimum.
I say 2017.
I say 2018 because there's no way they can screw that game up.
Yeah, but
if they've already talked about some very touchy things. I do want them to fix some of the story arcs and stuff in that game, but if they touch materia, I'm gonna throw a hissy fit.
There was a ton of materia in that game. Yeah,
I know, and I loved that. The materia is how basically you leveled up in the game because it made you stronger. It was the only way to get to max like the 9,999 health, things like that. But if they touch that battle system and they don't have it as a turn-based system, like what if? Anyway. They have to be really careful with it, and I don't even think it's Square Enix that's doing it. It's an outsourced.
Oh, that's risky.
No, it's the same guy that did the original 7 is doing 7.
He's the director, but it's not the same studio. It's an outsourced studio. It's not even Square Enix.
That's not what I read, but okay.
Well, that's what I heard. I heard it was CyberConnect or whatever.
That's scary.
Yeah. It's a little freaky with a game that everybody loves so much. Anyway, that's enough rant about that. We're gonna read an email. If you want to send in your emails to us with any suggestions of gaming topics, we would love to have them. Or if you wanted to make comments on the topics that we talk about every week, please feel free to send them in. We love to get them. We love to read them. And if you want to put at the very end, keep up the hard work and really great job and stuff. I like that stuff.
It makes his ego grow and his head
No,
grow.
it's not about ego. It just makes me feel happy that there's nice people in the world who like what we do. And let's face it, I ain't getting paid for this. None of us is. Yeah. Screw you.
I'll be walking around with this chest pushed down there a little further.
This one comes from Aether, who is a constant follower and retweets for us, all sorts of stuff. He writes in, after listening to episode 48, I wanted to express some hopefuls for the next Electronics Entertainment Expo, and I hoped to get your thoughts. From Nintendo, rest in peace, Iwata. I'd really like to see next-gen new entry for Ogre Battle franchise, which includes Tactor Ogre and Ogre Battle 64. Tactics. Ogre Battle 64 was my personal gateway to the gamer mindset, which is interesting, I think. Shows how old we are. And I would love to revisit the world. Otherwise, I'd really like to see an HD remake of Sega's Skies of Arcadia, one of the gems from the Dreamcast, and a solid port on the GameCube. I'll be honest, we're probably not going to talk a whole lot about it. I don't think any of us have played that one.
No.
Aside from that, the only thing I could truly hope for would be an announcement from Blizzard that they are able to port StarCraft 2 and all expansions to Xbox One and PS4. Since they managed with Diablo 3 Pipe Dream, maybe thanks again for all your hard work. That's what I want to spend a little bit of time on.
What, all the hard work?
No. God. No, the Blizzard thing, okay? They're a massive company. They make amazing games. Diablo is awesome, and I think it's better on console. I love the movement. I love that you control your movement, and it's not a point-and-click adventure. I love it. He's talking about getting StarCraft 2 and all expansions over to console. Doable, of course. I don't think RTSs, however, belong on consoles. I think they're too hard to play because you're using a joystick as opposed to a mouse, which is incredibly quick.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on that? Like, would you play StarCraft if it came to a console?
I would attempt it.
Yeah.
But I think I would get too frustrated. The disc would get snapped in half, or I would use my platinum card that I have from one of the people that sells video games within my first 7 days, and been like, no, I want my money.
So the problem that I have with putting a RTS on a console is, I remember StarCraft 64, and yes, I know it was an awful port and the game was crap. But it was still using the basic principle that you used a joystick to move around, and it was not fast. It's not as fast as click on the mini-map with your mouse and stuff like that. Now, given, obviously, you can do all sorts of things, like the PlayStation 4 has the trackpad on it and things like that. However, I want to talk about other Blizzard games because I have a pipe dream that Overwatch is going to come to consoles because I'd really, really like to play it on consoles instead of PC.
I think that one will be on console.
I want to see that game so bad on consoles.
I say Gamescom or E3 next year, it'll be announced that it's coming to console.
I'm okay with it taking a little bit longer. Obviously, they need to work out kinks and stuff, but Diablo was such a good port. The console sales are going so fast now that we're almost at 30 million for Xbox Ones and PlayStation 4. And by this time next year, we'll be over that. And you can't ignore that installation base. Like, PCs are great, but you always have that overlying issue of, can this run it? Can this do this? And Blizzard games are pretty versatile, but you still want a great computer to play it. If it's on console, it works. It works. Do you know what Overwatch? Do you know what Overwatch is? Yeah. I love to see that MOBA-esque first-person shooter on a console. I'd also really like to see if they can put Hearthstone on console. I don't exactly know how they do it, but they've ported it to everything else now. It's on phones and everything, and they've done amazing jobs.
They might be able to.
I'd love to see that as a free-to-play game on console. It should be easy.
That would be. I'd say that's easy.
Click and then click on whatever card you want to attack. Things like that. I think it'd be cool. I'd love to see Hearthstone
the Magic
there.
game started on console and then
That's
went
true.
the other way.
That's true.
And
what was that, like Planeswalkers
Duel
or
of
whatever?
the
Duel of the Planewalk. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'd love to see that kind of stuff. I do share your pipe dream. Obviously, StarCraft is a massive franchise, and I haven't played Heart of the Swarm, but I did play the campaign for Wings of Liberty, and I really do enjoy StarCraft. I just don't think RTSs really don't do well on consoles, and Diablo was a different story.
Halo Wars did well on console.
Yeah, I guess. Okay, so there is a way to do it. Maybe they can. I'm more concerned about getting Overwatch, though, because I've been kind of into the more competitive, like jump in, play around, and jump out type games like Rocket League and things like that. So I'd love to have Overwatch there. Obviously, I think MMOs should die and stay on PC. I don't think they should die, but I think they should stay on PC, stay off of consoles. Final Fantasy seems to work really well on PlayStation, but I disagree that you can tell me that I can play just as good on my PlayStation. I can't see being able to play just as good on my PlayStation as I can on my PC.
See, I've never been big on PC gaming at all. So it's one of those things where I myself am very pro console.
Yeah, I had a PC for a while, and I think the discussion always runs down to, if I have a PC, I always want a new graphics card or new this or do that, and it becomes a problem. It becomes, okay, I want to spend $500 to upgrade this when I can put $1,000 and buy every console on the market. And then buy the best games, and we're gonna go over a little bit about that kind of.
I think we should segue into
that.
Segue into that. Make
that
our next topic.
Well, thank you very much for your email. And we're gonna segue into the next topic, which we're gonna start on the bottom and work our way up on our pages. We're gonna talk about why I think, and Matt agrees with me, why indie games are better on consoles. And we'll start the discussion off with, we were just mentioning that consoles, they only get, like most of the time their goal is to get premium quality games going to the consoles. Anybody disagree with that?
No.
I think you're right.
Yeah. So the problem is, though, is that they're not always that great. That being said, when it comes to indie games, I've been told so many times by people, especially even people when I'm going to buy a video game, that PC has so many more indies, so many more options, blah, 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 this. And I agree with you. You do have more options and stuff, but the PC is filled with so much crap. It's unbelievable.
And it's hard to find a good one.
And I mean, obviously you can read ratings and stuff like that, but you can do whatever you want. These early access games, half of them don't even come out. You pay this money to get this game, and then it takes 4 more years. Like, I even put $30 into DayZ to get a copy of the game, and so many people did that, but that game's still not even finished.
No.
It doesn't even make any sense. You have a playable build, but you can't bring it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But with consoles, we get sort of the cream of the crop, or what we're assumed, because not all of them are great, but we get all these indie games that are awesome because Sony and Microsoft are going out and saying no to you, yes to Cuphead because that looks amazing. We want you guys. You come over to this side. It's like in gym class when you're picking teams.
Yeah.
That's what they do. Seriously.
Yeah.
And all the weak little guys are like, no, we're playing weightlifting. You got to go away. Yeah. I don't know how you play weightlifting. But
no, I'm pretty sure I've seen an indie game where you just click on things that you take your thing to the gym and you lift weights.
But and that's what I'm saying. And some of them can be a little bit charming, but if you're basically in gym class, and Sony and Microsoft and Nintendo to an extent are picking these games, they're going, okay, yes to Cuphead, yes to Firewatch, yes to Ethan Carter, yes to No Man's Sky. I mean, arguably one of the biggest games coming out this year. And they're saying, yes, we want all of you guys, come over to this side. But all these other ones that are, and I'm not trying to crap on them because I know it takes a long time to build a game, but some of it does feel like it's just crap to be like, hey, we can make a game and people will buy it as long as it's on Steam Early Access.
Yeah.
And to an extent, that's kind of true. And we do that with other games and stuff. Does anybody have any thoughts on this? Like, what are some games that you've heard of that are just like, that are awesome on console that maybe you wouldn't have gotten necessarily on PC?
Well, one of them would be Vanishing of Ethan Carter. I never would have bought a PC just to play that, but now that it's on console,
Yeah.
I downloaded it. I haven't had a chance to play it yet because Life is Strange is, if you want to do everything, actually takes quite a bit of time.
Yeah.
But I do like the fact that the consoles are more selective than PC. I mean, I have played some on PC that I wish would come to console.
Yep.
Like, I played one on at my friend's house on a Mac that's all based off Edgar Allan Poe's books.
Okay.
That one was amazing. I haven't seen it. Can't remember the name of it now, but he'll probably kick my ass for not remembering. But
there are some games that I wish they would port, like Five Nights at Freddy's. I've never played, but it seems like it's right up my alley. I'd love them to port that,
Yep.
and who knows, maybe they will. But you get games like you said, like Vanishing of Ethan Carter. It was on PC, and then it was pretty, well regarded. Like I don't know about ratings or anything, but people generally seem to like it. And then you play it on PS4, and you're like, okay, this is great. People need to not ignore how fast the consoles are being sold, but they also have to realize that Sony is basically saying, like, yes, we want you over here. Like, it's not just the developer saying we need to put this on PlayStation 4, maybe sometimes, but Sony also has to say we're allowing you to do this. Yeah. Like, you can't just make the game and put it on there. Steam, it seems like they're like, we can greenlight anything, and these are the 3 you can greenlight right now, and you can fund this and fund that, and I don't know. It just seems a little weird to me because it's just crap. Like, some of it is just crap. It's like iOS and Android. Like, there's so much junk on there. You have to sift through it all to see if there's anything good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I think that's enough on that one.
I think that's
we're
enough on that.
getting longer than I expected this one to be. So
absolutely.
Next.
Let's talk a little bit about. We'll go over that one last. What game? We got this idea from GameSpot. We saw this article and we thought it was really funny because there's so many games that you think of this way. So what game did you love on release and you can't play it now? Not that you can't physically get it, but you like literally can't play it because it's that bad now, but it was really good at the time.
Anybody have a game? Say it was that bad.
Not necessarily that bad, but it just feels like because of upgraded mechanics and newer like powerful machines, it just feels not good enough to play compared to what you've played. Anybody have any thoughts? Ryan, do you have any thoughts? What game? No?
It probably would be a toss-up between the Call of Duty World at War or the Modern Warfare franchise in general. I loved Modern Warfare as a whole. The story was great. But a while ago, I actually did try to play Modern Warfare 3. And I don't know, because I went through it, already knew the story. I just couldn't do it.
So it's less of a mechanics thing and more of a this has just been overdone
thing, yeah.
and I can't do it anymore.
I went through, I enjoyed it, it was a great way to tie everything together and finish it up.
Okay.
But for me, it was just, okay, I know how it finished. It wasn't like a movie that you can watch over and over and over again or a game that you can just continually play.
That's a good comparison, yeah. I like that. I like that the fact that it's not about mechanics where it's where I'm going to come from. It's not mechanics, it's the fact that some movies you can literally sit there and watch. Like, I can watch Kung Fu Hustle over and over and over again, but I can't, I won't watch Contraband again.
Yeah.
Oh, God, no.
Because I was like, all right, that was okay.
Yeah.
Mediocre at best, right? Matt, what game are you sitting there thinking about that you can't go back to?
As much as people are probably going to yell at me when they hear it, and it's not mechanics, it's probably just how much time I put into it in the first place.
Sure.
Was I tried to do it, but I can't go back to Skyrim.
Okay.
And I love that game. I've restarted the game like 7 different times. I had over 300 hours on one character. The most recent character was like 87 hours, and I tried to put it back in the other day, start over, and I was just like, I can't do it.
Yeah.
It's
so unlike Destiny, it seems right now, it seems like the amount of hours you put into a game sometimes can cap out.
Yeah.
Like, you can actually get to 387 hours. That's my cap. Can't do any more of that.
Oh no, that wasn't the cap. There was definitely more than that put into it. But no,
I think that game would be hard to jump back to PlayStation 3 as well, because the console itself it don't even come close to.
They had some massive issues with Fallout 3 and with Skyrim when it came to PlayStation. It was better on Xbox and way better than both on PC. Mine is all about mechanics, and it's actually in the same genre as Matt, and it's Elder Scrolls Oblivion. And that was actually one of the ones in the article, but that was the first thing I saw without even going into the article. That was the first thing I thought of, because when I went back to try and play that game, it was mind-numbingly slow. And this is after playing Skyrim, of course. I'm like, I'm going to go back and play Oblivion. And I can't do it. I don't know. You move so slow. You
level weird.
You level really weird. Well, you didn't level weird. It was more like Morrowind, where like the more you do, I think the more you level up. But that being said, oh man, it drove me nuts. The first Oblivion portal I went into or whatever in that game, and you kill a Daedric guy, and you can't take his goddamn armor, and I'm like, this is not. You are literally holding me back because of pointless reasons. Like, but it's so slow. The combat is slow. Especially after playing Skyrim, where the combat is way faster, especially if you're a magic user, where you're just throwing lightning bolts everywhere and fireballs and shit. Oh man, I couldn't play that if I wanted to. Yeah. If you have any thoughts on that, of what game that'd actually be interesting to get a few emails on. What game did you play when it first came out that you couldn't put down, but if you went back to it now, you wouldn't touch? Actually, another one that I'll mention that I can't finish the whole way through is Final Fantasy VII. I can't go through it all. It's so dated and the graphics are so bad. It's just, and I know graphics don't make the game, but there's so many problems with the story and stuff like that it doesn't hold up. It was near and dear to my heart, and I'm really excited for the remake, but I didn't finish it. I went across the ocean in the boat and got to that port, and then I didn't play it ever again. Last but not least, it's going to be a little bit of a rant, and then we're going to get the hell out of here because we've been going quite a bit longer than I thought we'd go. A little bit of a rant. Konami is removing Kojima Productions and a Kojima game removed also. So they've removed it again officially. Ridiculous. Yeah, how do you even justify that? The guy puts what is it, 5 or 6 or 7 years into this game to make it, and you're removing his name. You're like a whiny brat who's not getting their way. Yeah. I'm sorry that Kojima is a more popular person than you, but you are literally pissing every gamer off. And even if you did want to continue to make Metal Gear games after Kojima leaves, nobody's going to buy them. No, literally nobody will buy them because you lost your head guy, and you're treating him like a piece of dirt. You're not even giving him his due. He made the damn game. He did not make it. That's my. Does anybody disagree with me with that?
It's not. They're spoiled little 2-year-olds throwing a tantrum, kicking, screaming because they didn't get their own way.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. And maybe we're wrong. Maybe this will come out and it'll be like a Jeremy Clarkson story where he got drunk one night and punched the producer in the face or something, and it's really his fault for doing it. But the reality is, no, like, it doesn't seem that way to us. Like, Kojima wasn't, and you have to think that if they weren't going through something like that, they might have been at E3 in a bigger presence as opposed to just a 40-minute gameplay on Jeff Keighley's YouTube show. I don't know. I don't like it.
I don't like it either.
I love Metal Gear Solid. You think the games are stupid, but I love that franchise, and I'm so excited for Metal Gear Solid 5, and it makes me very sad to know that the person in charge of making the craziness that is Metal Gear Solid is not even getting like credited for it. Be interesting to see at the end of the game if it says like director Hideo Kojima or if it just has a big red line through it. No, it wasn't him. Anybody have anything else to add before we get out of here?
No,
I don't think so. I think that's it. Sorry for the lack of a little bit of news and stuff and a little bit of rants, but not a lot of news, and we can't really control that.
No,
I don't think so. Anyway.
Oh, and we've been skipping out on some of the ones that don't really need to be said.
Yeah. Angry Birds 2 didn't really excite me at all. No. I think they overdid it with that because they're doing Angry Birds 2, but they did Angry Birds and then Angry Pigs and then
Angry Birds in Space
and then Angry Birds in Space and Angry Birds Star Wars and all this other stuff. Like, I mean. And now it's Angry Birds 2. This is Angry Birds 6.
Yep.
Anyway, let's do some plugs and get out of here. Ryan doesn't have a Twitter.
He does.
Do you?
I do.
Do you want people to follow you?
I don't even know what it is. I don't use it very much.
All right. If you want to follow me on Twitter, I am Matt Chalice. If you want to follow Matt,
at ManW_the_Beard.
If you want to follow us as a collective group, and that is, of course, more important, we are at Gaming Lag, 2 G's in Lag. Please visit the website, gaminglag.com, same spelling. Please, if you're in the Fredericton area or Maritime area, or you're going to be around or you want to come up, Fredericton Gaming Expo is August 15th and 16th, and please come by our table, I guess. I don't know if it'd be considered a booth-ish. It's a really small convention. There's only about 1,000 people that go, but I'm excited to meet lots of local people and hopefully raise some money for Extra Life. Visit Gamer Support Gamers and check out our Patreon. I know you heard the message at the beginning of the show, but this is not... Obviously, we don't get paid to do this. That being said, it takes a lot of time and effort and prep to do all this every single week. It takes an entire day to do it, and we would love it if you could support us. Patreon, and then type in Gaming Lagg. It's very easy to find. We're not looking for people to be giving us $50, or we don't even have the option. The max you can give is $35, but our unofficial goal is to reach 1,000 people giving $1 a month, and that is nothing. It really isn't. It's not a lot of money. It's a little for you and a lot for us. I think that's it. Gaming Lagg.